We'll make do. You know what I'm gonna do to make sure that while the video is working, I do want to talk. Welcome back, by the way. Thanks for coming back, dude.
Thank you.
Very
Thanks,
excited
man.
to have you on because we are going to be reviewing the Batman today. Before we get into that, while I have the visuals available to me, I want to show this off. This is
Awesome.
the single for Ancient Evil. And for those not listening, Cam and Massacre have been doing an amazing, like, you've been releasing stuff on Bandcamp through like singles. The quality of this stuff, dude, like you can't really tell from the video, but this is like thick cardstock. It's not like a little flimsy piece of paper. Like this thing is gonna last. The CDs that you're kind of putting out, the merch that you're doing that's like all indie released right now is so cool. And then it also came with a autographed print, Evil Dead tribute, and I think there's a sticker. I don't want to use it. The sticker is so cool. I keep telling myself, okay, should I put this on something or should I just like keep it? So I've kept it so far. I don't want to use it yet.
That's cool.
And but yeah, man, big props to your Bandcamp and your indie stuff that you've been putting out. How like is you're obviously super involved in the production of it. So like how are you doing this where the quality is this high? Because most of the time when you see indie stuff on Bandcamp, it's not really like the production quality isn't as high. So I'm assuming like you know people or you have the means to kind of like find the right people to put it together, right?
Yeah, it's generally I use I think I use Atomic Disc for that. I think don't quote me, but I think they're out of Washington or
Okay.
could be Oregon somewhere on the West Coast, so just around above you somewhere. I use them,
Hmm.
and their stuff is great. So it's like I tested their stuff with some of my solo stuff that I did, and I liked the quality of the stuff that they produced, and I've been sticking with them for the CDs ever since. For vinyl, I work with a guy over in Germany, and for the cassette that's coming out, because we got a cassette that's going to be coming out, I'm
Hell
working
yeah.
now with a company out of Canada.
Nice.
So, but I've worked with that company before as well out of Canada with something else. So I know
Yeah.
they do really good quality stuff.
And to
So
show this
that's
off.
mainly I look for I try to keep things cool. I try to keep things because these things are do it yourself, kind of like how we're keeping it, trying to keep that spirit of the old underground alive. But even though
Hmm.
we're on Nuclear Blast and we have the Resurgence album, which you just showed from that's on Nuclear Blast, we have more stuff that's coming out through Nuclear Blast.
Hmm.
I still like to have that sort of old school retro kind of 80s vibe going on where we do things ourselves. But I don't want to just like create a cassette tape that's like we did in the 80s where we just,
Hmm.
got a Memorex and just copied our
Tape
music on
trade.
the Memorex and photocopied like something using a really bad Xerox machine and made a cover and sent it off. I kind of want to bring the quality up a little bit, but
Yeah.
I
It
like doing these do-it-yourself things because we do a limited, usually like 100 copies, and it keeps it cool. It keeps
and
it kind of collector's items and stuff like that.
yeah, I've seen people already that like they're grabbing every single one and they're excited to see the whatever else you're gonna put out. And again, like the quality is so awesome. The quality of the cardstock, it comes with the sticker, it comes with the print. Everything kind of has like an exclusive kind of thing to it. So it's really awesome. And I was actually just talking to Sean Murphy, the comic book writer and artist, last week. He came on to talk about he's doing Batman Beyond White Knight next.
Oh,
And
that's awesome. That's pretty
yeah.
cool.
Oop, I think my video is about to go out. So good thing I did what I just did before it did. So I'm just going to switch over to this. I knew that was going to happen. But so I was able to show off what I needed to. But yeah, so Sean Murphy was talking about how he's doing like Indiegogo campaigns for some indie stuff. And it's kind of
Hmm.
crowdsourced and crowdfunded. And I was telling him, I actually specifically mentioned Massacre. I was like, the Indiegogo stuff reminds me a lot of what bands are kind of doing now, where everything's directed, like it's direct to fans. It's creator to fans, and it's like a much more direct connection. Fans are like excited to directly support the artists, and this is kind of like where comics, aside from Marvel, if you're not like a big name at Marvel, if you're not a big name at DC, this is kind of what you as a creator have to kind of do now is go like grassroots and give your stuff directly to the fans. So it's kind of what comics is in a way slowly morphing into. So, and he loved the analogy and he loved the description that I used and the example that I used of you guys. So,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
mean,
man.
that's how I look at it too. I mean, it's funny because it goes both ways. Because how I like to, I use comics as kind of like as a point to make when I do these independent little things. And when Massacres lately, how we've been doing things is um, the main thing is like you have the Ancient Evil. Now you have the Ancient Evil CD. However, let me think. I have one right here. You won't be able, I think you can still see me, but
Oh, yeah,
I
I
don't
can
know.
still see you, and they'll be able to see you too.
Yeah. So a good example is you have the CD of the Ancient Evil. Now, this is the 7-inch. I don't know if you can see
Nice.
that. The
Oh
glare.
yeah.
That's the
Very
7-inch.
Very
The
nice.
vinyl. Now the vinyl has a completely different cover, and I
Mhm.
did this on purpose, taking into consideration how comic books release the same issue with a different artist and a different cover.
Yeah.
That's literally how I kind of look at it. I said, you know what? It can be
Variants.
done in comic books. Why can't it be done in music?
Hell yeah, man. And
Because I'm a big comic book fan, big comic book nerd. So I'm gonna use the comic books as kind of like when I get the point across to other people. I'm like, well, if you don't collect comic books, you won't get it. But it's an artist thing. Some of us enjoy different artists, and we want to showcase these different artists. Now, the artist that did that, he's actually done art for us before on some of our exclusive T-shirts that we had. So I wanted to do something that he would be able to have his art showcased on an actual release rather than just a T-shirt. So that's what came up. And the artist that I use for, I use Wes Benscotter on the album, but then I use for all these little single releases, I used an artist, Timble Cahone. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I don't know how to. It's really weird, but Bullmark, our Bull Metal is where that artist is, and he's the guy I use for these little releases, like like the Ancient Evil and the Dead Beyond Death 7-inch and stuff like that. Although the Halloween one we didn't. I used some art from somebody else I know.
yeah,
But
it's all looking great, man. I love the idea. And I think you're one of the more prolific bands that are doing the Bandcamp exclusive things right now so frequently. Like I feel like you guys are constantly putting things out, and it's really awesome to see, and it gets fans excited. And like you mentioned, you got the new LP out, the new album, and then you're keeping people happy with releases almost like quarterly. It seems like, so it's awesome to see.
yeah, I mean the album's only been out, I guess now. It came out at the end of October, so you got November, December, January, February, March. It's like 5 months. It's only been out 5 months, and in the 5 months since the album came out, we released 3 so far singles, which was and we got more coming. We still have more coming, so
That's rad.
It's cool. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
So I want to talk about the Batman, man.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
why I'm here.
I know I was geeking out too much on the music, but let's get get right to business. So, the way that I know you got your notes, so I want to make sure that I kind of have like a little bit of an outline about making sure that we hit all the topics that we pre-gamed a lot online, going back and forth, but maybe talking a little bit about like your hype level, like where were you at going into this movie? Where were your thoughts as far as you're getting ready to go to the theater, you're thinking about the movie, like were you hyped, were you nervous, were you worried, did you not like the casting, where were you at like going in?
Okay, now I'm different than most people, and that's obvious. But no, when it comes to movies, because I'm a big movie geek as well, I don't look at movies the same way that I guess generally everyone else does. Like, for example, I knew that Pattinson was going to be like a big controversy. Everyone called him the Twilight guy and all that stuff. I don't look at the guy like that. I don't look at actors that way. I look to the director. That's when I first look at the movie, I'm looking at the director. So I'm looking at, I know Matt Reeves, and I knew Matt Reeves from my first exposure to him. I think was Cloverfield.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I thought I went to, I was one of those geeks that, because I'm a big kaiju geek, so I went to see Cloverfield and I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't hate it as much as a lot of people did at first, because I remember a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's shaky cam. I can't stand that stuff." I actually liked it. I liked what he did with it, the build that he did, the build up. He kept you on your seat. He kept the suspense. But the stuff that I really liked that he did, what really captured me as far as being a fan of his stuff, was the 2 Planet of the Apes that he did.
Oh my God,
yeah. When he did Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War of the Planet of the Apes, that really, that I think those are even better. I am a fan of the Planet of the Apes, and I did like Rise, but it's not my favorite. But then when the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War came out, and the way that Matt Reeves took over and directed it, I liked it. It was gritty. And I'll give you a good example. My mother-in-law saw Rise with us as a family. And then she went to see, when Dawn came out, she went to see Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and she hated it. And I loved it. So I realized that, okay, Rise of the Planet of the Apes is I don't even remember who directed that one, but that's kind of like the nice family orientated Planet of the Apes. But then when Dawn comes out, it's the gritty, let's get down to it, action Planet of the Apes. And so that's when I was like, okay, this guy, Matt Reeves. And I think also, and I'm going off, I don't even have this in my notes, I'm going off my head. I think he did a remake of Let Me In, or Let the Right One In, which is a vampire, the little vampire girl.
Okay, now, there you go. We got frozen for a bit. Man, the universe does not want us to have this episode, man.
I know. What the heck, man?
Well, you froze up, but you were talking about you were excited because you were mostly excited because of his previous work. So your attention 100% went to the director first, and so
yeah, I wasn't good. Okay, I remember the casting. I remember when people said, "Oh, it's Rob." I wasn't like one of those. I'd actually never seen the Twilight movies, so I wasn't spoiled by that. I remember him the first time I ever came across. I remember him from Cedric Diggory. I remember him from the Harry Potter movies, but then I saw him on other stuff. I saw him like in Lighthouse and that kind of stuff. So I can't go say, "Oh, it's the Twilight guy," and I don't. But again, I don't look at actors that way. I don't look at movies because it's the actor. And I know this is weird, but I look at movies like the actors are just the tool.
Yeah.
And the director is the guy that's building the movie, just like building a house. If somebody took a really good hammer and you go to build a movie like you do a house, you can't necessarily blame the hammer if the builder builds an outhouse. It's like if somebody builds a shitty movie, you can't blame the hammer. And I look at like Pattinson's a really good actor. He's a really good solid actor. He's a good solid hammer. I'm not blaming him for Twilight. I mean, that's just where he was used. That hammer was used to build. So I liked him. Let's get that out of the way. I did like him as the Batman. I thought he was good as a young up and coming Batman. And that's, I really liked the film because it explored a sort of, new Batman, an initiate to the whole Batman thing. I like that. One of my favorite scenes is when he totally screwed up, when he was escaping and he fell and he busted ass. Now you got to remember, I've only seen the film once. I wish I could have seen it more again, but I was with my wife and I nudged her. I was like, yeah, it's a Batman that fucks up. I like that. I like that. Yeah. I like that because before that we got Affleck as Batman. And he was the more, seasoned Batman. And so it was cool to see a different, Batman that wasn't so seasoned, didn't know everything. I like that. That's actually like, let me show you here. One of my favorite, because I told you this before, when I get into the Batman books, I don't really follow the continuity. I got into it like going back to the older stuff. So one of my favorite books is Year One, which I thought this movie had a lot of Year One kind of take in it, and I got part 2 and so what I like about this was we got that fresh Batman. He's still feeling it out, trying to get it. So I like to see that. Other than what we had with I don't even want to go into a Zack Snyder kind of thing. My wife got mad at me the other night because not mad at me, but she was like, don't use that analogy. I'm like, I'm not gonna get in trouble for using a Taco Bell analogy, but I'll give you an example. Zack Snyder stuff, I don't hate it, but it's like, Zack, you had the best ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
You have the best playground here with all these DC characters, and you literally made Taco Bell crap. I mean, you could have like made gourmet stuff, and you made shit that's like Taco Bell quality. It's like that's how I look at it. I mean, I don't hate the Zack Snyder stuff, but I wish it could have been better. It just, I mean, I don't blame it for the Justice League, but I mean, he did, and he's hit and miss.
Right.
And I'll give you an example. I liked Man of Steel.
Yeah.
But I hated Batman versus Superman. I hated it. I wanted to like it. I really did. And it's like, I can't like this. And then Justice League, well, even his cut of Justice League, I don't know. It just, like I said,
a definite, what do you call it? An acquired taste for sure. I think like he made a very specific story with like a very specific, I don't know. It's just, I think that's what I think the masses hated, is that he had something so specific done on a big budget, when that's usually something for like the animated universe or something like, that's like an animated movie. I think that they normally would do is like the alternate reality kind of thing, or alternate timeline. Somehow he convinced the studio to give him a massive budget to do that. But yeah, like you said, man, we could spend days on that.
I know.
When
I don't want to go. I don't want to get off course, because
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's really about the new Batman,
Right.
And I'll get back to what I originally was talking to you off before we did this, and what got me to do this was, what really excited me about the new movie is we finally got a version of the Riddler that's live action, that's great, and it's like such an underused character that goes, it's one of the Batman's rogue gallery villains, and we finally got one that I felt like, okay, now this is a Riddler I'm not going to laugh at, this is a Riddler that I'm going to go like, oh shit, this is a Riddler, I think that's if you go all the way back to like the 66 Batman, and of course everything about that was camp, and Frank Gorson did the version of the Riddler, that was very campy. And then the only other version we got after that, as far as live action goes, is sort of the Jim Carrey version, and that is absolutely campy. Yeah, it's embarrassing. I can't even look at it. I look at it and I go, oh gee.
It's like the Mask. Still, it's like he's still doing the Mask.
Yeah, and then the only other version, and I think I talked to you about this, that I liked of the Riddler was in the Arkham games. However, the Riddler in the Arkham games isn't the Riddler we got in the Batman. And the Riddler in the Arkham games is sort of kind of like that know-it-all kid that you had that would come up to you and they know stuff. And they were like, I know something that you don't know, and this is what I know. That's kind of the Riddler in the Arkham games. He's sort of that annoying kid. However, this Riddler is fucking scary. I mean, there's no way to way to put it.
School shooter.
Yeah, that's and I really like that. I like the fact that and I'm looking at my notes here. Paul Dano did a great job for one. The parts when he go apeshit crazy, my wife was getting uncomfortable. I remember the first time he started like freaking out and screaming, no!
Yeah.
Like, my wife was like, that's you. No. Yeah. No, I was literally, I was like, wow, this guy's got the insanity part down, because he's coasting, and then all of a sudden he goes from this to up here like that quick. I mean, and that was intense. And, and I congratulate the actor. I congratulate Paul for doing that, and I congratulate Matt for giving us that, because, and that's when I'm going to go back to talking about Matt and his great directing was he took everything that guys like David Fincher, which is basically, the guy that directed Seven, Fight Club, and movies like that. And Matt took all of those elements and used those in the Batman. I mean, he used elements that Fincher was using in Seven, like And that's another important part. I don't want to rip on the Chris Nolan films, and I'm not, but I love Batman Begins, but the Dark Knight ones I didn't like. But I have a
Oh wow.
reason. I have a reason. Batman Begins was good. It gave me an impression that this was the first time we got to see that, because also Gotham was a character. But by the time you get to the next movie, Gotham is just any city, and it's like
Chicago.
Yeah, it could be anything. And Gotham has to have a personality just as much as the characters, because it's very important. And that's what I love about, the Burton films, is Gotham is a character, and I felt in the first Nolan film, Gotham was a character, but it's like he dropped that. But then I have other reasons why I don't like the Chris Nolan films as well, because I just felt like when you get to the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises, I just feel like I don't want a Batman that doesn't want to be Batman. And I'm saying that I think this is in the writing. This really has nothing to do with the acting or so, but the writing was, all of a sudden I'm watching a Batman who's like fed up with being a Batman. Oh, there's my phone. Hold on. Sorry. Let me turn that off.
No worries.
So that's my biggest complaint about the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises, is because I'm watching a Batman who doesn't want to be Batman. I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. Which I like about the new one is he finds a reason to be Batman. When you get to the end of the film, he finally knows that he wants to be Batman. He has to be Batman, in the new one.
And the type of
Batman too. I just don't. I just, like I said, when you get to Dark Knight Rises, it's like, here's a Batman, here's a Bruce Wayne that doesn't want to be Batman. He'd rather be Bruce Wayne. It's like, what? No, that's not the Batman I want to watch. I want to watch a Batman that wants to be Batman, that loves being Batman, like the Batman from The Brave and the Bold. I mean, I just want a Batman that wants to be Batman. Yeah, and realizes that he has to be Batman.
It's a good point, because I think people forget that the identity 100% is Batman. Bruce Wayne is the persona that he creates to put on the front, because he's always Batman, even when he's not in the suit. That's who he is, and he has to create the fake identity to offset, to throw people off. And so that's why it was, I think, like you mentioned, it's really jarring in the Nolan universe, because he's like, wait, he doesn't make sense to want to be the guy that you aren't really supposed to be. Like, you're supposed to be Batman. And that's kind of like the whole point of the character, is like he's constantly having to live this like double life, because he's trying to, number one, protect everyone around him who he loves. The mask kind of protects them, and then number two, like if they find out who he really is or what he's really about, like he won't be able to do it anymore. So what is maybe the moment when you're sitting in the theater for this one? When was the moment when you're watching it and you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna like this, or oh, here we go, this is getting good?
Actually, it sucked me in from the beginning. It did. And I went in blind. I did that on purpose. I didn't want to watch any kind of reviews. I do that when there's a movie I really want to see. I do that even with the Marvel movies. I'll go in blind. I don't want to watch reviews. I don't watch YouTube, and I don't try to get spoilers. And I just want to go in and give me my own impression. So when I went in, now, of course, after I watched the movie, then I watched everybody online talking about little hints and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, see, that's exactly what and I'm nudging my wife going, that's exactly what I said about it. And she's like, yeah, I know. And first thing that I got was I love the first person perspective of it from the start. Like, you got to see through the Riddler's eyes, and I was like, wow, it's on Halloween. And we're seeing, I'm like, oh, I got that, because I'm a big horror. Of course, I'm a big horror geek, so I got it right off the bat. I was like, oh, he's doing the Carpenter thing with little Michael looking through the mask, and you can actually see the cutout. It was the same. I got the same feeling right off the bat, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then when he used the carpet tool, when he dropped the carpet tool, I didn't even know it was a carpet tool. I actually thought it was like something medical. I wasn't quite sure what it was, but it was like I really liked how it kind of like slid up to close to the screen, and what was going on in the background is still going on in the background, and then he walks over really slow to pick it up. And I was like, now this is a scary ass Riddler. this isn't the Riddler I'm gonna laugh at and like, you know, poke fun at. This guy's really, you know, this is, so it had me pretty much from the beginning. And then there was some parts that really surprised me. Now I have one complaint, and this is probably going to annoy the hell out of people, is I thought Zoe Kravitz looked great as the part. I thought she fit it. I thought she looked like how kind of a year one Catwoman is drawn, and kind of I really felt she encapsulated. The only issue I have, and my wife agrees, I don't think she was sassy enough. I don't think I like my Catwoman to be sassy. And what I mean by that, and I haven't watched this yet. I told you I was going to watch it.
Oh yeah.
I got this the other night. I haven't watched it yet. But I heard good things about it, so I'm going to give it a try to watch it tonight. Now, what I mean by sassy enough is I like a Catwoman that knows what she's doing, or at least thinks she knows what she's doing. Yeah, I like a Catwoman to have that. Yeah, confidence, and also because it reminds me of a cat always landing on its feet. You know, to have that confidence, that kind of cockiness, and that sassy. It's not really cockiness, but it's sort of a sassiness that she has, and there, you know, she's been done well in that, especially in Batman the Animation. Adrienne Barbeau did her voice, and just she had that kind of cockiness and sassiness about her, and I like a Catwoman that has that. And I think even in some of the well, in the Arkham games, she has sort of that, you know, the Arkham games, she has that sort of that I know what I'm doing, I don't need you, Batman, but you know, I'll use you if I have to. That's the kind of I was looking for more of that as far as her looking, the look and the way she looked, and yeah, I thought I could look at her all day dressed in that cat suit. But yeah, that was my only little issue that I had about this one. I just wish she was a little bit more confident. But again, it's also her beginning too, so maybe she'll get that a little bit later.
Yeah, I saw Zoe Kravitz say in some interview recently that she was explaining, I think specifically the suit. She's like, that's the cat suit that she wears. It's not supposed to be the Catwoman suit. And I guess, I don't know if she spoiled it, but she's like, that'll come later. And it's like, ooh. So I think it is interesting because Matt Reeves mentioned in a few interviews, like, this is not an origin story. This is 2 years in. So, but, you know, like you mentioned, it's very much still the like early stages of these characters. So Batman, I would say, is even more a little bit more established than Catwoman is. You know, she's still just kind of like the you know, she's still trying to find her footing. But yeah, that's very interesting. I didn't even think about that. That now that I think about it, she is way more influenced by her emotion multiple times in the movie, where it actually leads to maybe a couple of things going wrong, right?
Yep.
And we can go pretty much spoilers. Like, it's been what, like 2 weeks since the movie's been out. I think if you're gonna want to see it, you would have seen it by now, so we don't have to worry about that. But good point. Okay. So from the get-go, from the Riddler's opening scene, that's kind of what caught you. The scene that I love that really got me like, damn, this is gonna be good, even if someone doesn't like whatever part or whatever instrument was used. The part that I feel like really grabs people, especially if you're a Batman fan, is when he's describing the city and he's describing the drop head, and they're showing people fearing the shadows.
I was going to mention that. Yes, I was. Yeah, and I like that too. I thought that was to hear it narrated was really cool, and then to see it from all these people freaking out, like looking in the darkness. Hey man, is he there? Yeah.
Paranoid.
That also brought a horror element too, because and again, I'm a big horror nerd, so I was like, yeah, now they're actually scared of Batman. It's not just okay, there's Batman going to show up, because they don't know who Batman is, or they don't know where he is, and I thought that was really done well. Yeah, that's probably what sucked me in as well too. Now that I reflect back on it, I was thinking, you know, what's really pulling me? Yeah, that, especially like you said, the drop head coming out of the store, and he's looking around, and he looks up and he sees the bat signal, and then he looks over in the corner, and it's just complete darkness, and there's that pause for a second, like, is he going to come out of the darkness or not? That was great. And
the
there's so much little tiny beats that Matt
yeah.
Reeves did that is great about it. And if people are like not seeing it and not picking up on that, then I don't think they're really watching it like maybe
Yeah.
the same way we watch it, or they're going in with. I haven't yet talked to anybody that's not liked it. I have to be honest with you. I haven't.
Yeah.
You know, everyone that has seen it has said the same thing. They said, "Wow, it's really surprised me." But then again,
Yeah.
I'm like, are you going in judging it because of Robert Pattinson, or are you
Yeah.
going in and judging it as this might be a really cool take on a Batman film from a director that really does well with this type of stuff?
I think that so you know there's common folk, common moviegoers that I've seen
Mhm.
who've seen it and come back, and they're all raving about it, you know. But the ones who I'm always interested in are like the hardcore fans, like yourself. Like, you know, okay, I know that you're going to sit down and dissect this thing, and you know, I really want to hear your take. I would say 8 out of 10 people that I've talked to love it, and these are hardcore like comic Batman fans. 8 out of 10
Yeah.
love it, and there's been maybe two that I've talked to, and they have very specific reasons why they don't, and it's very much influenced by something that they either can't let go of that they love, or they can't see something beyond what is presented in some other aspect. Like one of them, he just can't fucking stand Robert Pattinson. So no matter what, like, he's not gonna like, you know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
can't
See
stand.
that's yeah. I don't go that. See,
Right. So
I don't. Yeah.
he
I
so
don't look at things that way.
this person, regardless of how good this movie is, they'll never be able to get it. And then the other one is, I think he's like he works in prop, or not props. He works in like costumes and bodysuits and like
Okay.
and physical effects. So he like creates like suits and masks. He worked on the CW shows. He worked on Flash. He worked on Arrow. He did Jane Silent Bob, couple of those movies, I think. So he has a very specific wanting and understanding of what he wants Batman not just to look like, but to physically like be. And I think it's
Mhm.
you know, when you come in from an angle like that, like it's hard to kind of accept anything that you don't think is the way you want it. But like I said, 8 out of 10 didn't just like it, loved it. So this is definitely a. I can't remember. I think The Dark Knight was the last time a Batman movie was really, really accepted by everybody, including mainstream and fans. But again, you know, people have their problems with The Dark Knight. But from what I remember, like in the theaters, I feel like okay, that was the last time everyone really liked it. But
Yeah.
the score, what did you think about
Oh,
the
that now that's. I told you when I got back. I'm going to go. I'm still haven't got it yet, but I need to get the soundtrack. Because I
yeah,
really, the score was what, yeah, that's definitely one of the better scores. And I actually thought that, you know, the Nolan stuff had really good scores. At least Batman Begins did. But this one really, yeah, this one was
yeah,
like, I felt it. And I mean, people are going to compare it. And I've already heard some people compare it. But some of the times when Batman comes on, it's almost like the Darth Vader theme.
yeah,
You can almost hear it, like,
yeah,
but it's cool. I like that. I like the
uh-huh,
fact that because then nothing else has actually done that.
uh-huh,
It's those notes. It's
yeah.
the progression of notes. Look at me, the
Dun
musician, doing that.
dun
It's
dun
the
dun
progression of
dun.
notes. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it had that. So I adhere to that because I love that. I told my
yeah.
wife if we ever get married, that's the music I'm playing. I walk down the aisle. It's Darth Vader's theme here. So
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, I really like the soundtrack. That was really good, and I'm definitely going to go and get the
yeah.
soundtrack
It
and pick it up.
it
But
took
yeah,
me it took me two. Well, I've only seen it twice, but it took me the second time around to really digest the score, like with the way it fit with the film, and the scene we were just discussing about the dropheads fearing the shadows. That part
hmm
in the movie, I feel like the score picks up so much. Like it keeps getting crazier and crazier and building, and there's like this cascading like violin, or I forget what it is, but it sounds like a spinning, like it's like you feel like the fear is spinning out of control almost the way that the
hmm
score goes. So I love that part.
yeah,
And I don't know about you, but the first time around I watched it, I heard the score, obviously. Second time around, I really paid attention to feel like what kind of emotions it gave me. And not that it sounds exactly like it, but there's moments of the score where I'm like, damn, this feels like the animated series. Like
yeah,
the
yeah.
score sounds like the way the animated series music accompanies the show. And the animated series, Jesus fucking Christ, man, they had like They had
Man,
like actual scores done for like each episode, which is nuts the way they
I
did
know
that.
that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really did enjoy the music the second time around because I paid attention to it and I was able to digest it more. I want to make sure we're getting everything we're not leaving out. How did you feel about you talked a little bit about Catwoman, you talked about
The
Paul
Riddler.
Dano's Riddler. Overall, the performances from the actors and the characters, like how did you feel about the performances of all the different cast?
I thought the performance was great. Colin Farrell, what can you say, man, about the Penguin, man? Wow. I was like, and here's the thing about the Penguin. A lot of people like my wife, I had to explain it to her because my wife only knows the Penguin from, other stuff. And she was like, she was like, is the Penguin always been a lackey of the mob? And I was like, I think that's kind of original to this storyline, but I can tell you something about the Penguin that's kind of interesting. And she was like, what? I said, when the Penguin was first introduced, he was kind of like low on the totem pole kind of guy. And I believe, and I'm going off memory here, man. I believe the very first time he was introduced, and this is back in the 40s, he was like an art thief or something. And he like stole like some expensive art piece or something. And it was kind of unique because he rolled it up and put it inside his umbrella, which I think had a hollow tube. And that's how he stole the painting. But he was doing it to prove himself to the mob. And I think that's literally if you can check later, I think that's literally the first introduction to the Penguin in the Batman, story. And he framed Batman for it, the stealing the picture. But I think the main thing about the mob thing was, I think when the original Penguin like took the painting to the mob to say, hey, look, I'm serious here. You need to take me serious. The mobster, which I think was an unnamed guy, I don't think it was Falcone, but was kind of like laughed at him and kind of like berated him. And Penguin ends up killing him and taking over the mob.
Yeah.
So I thought was really cool was there was a little bit of that in this movie, especially towards the end, especially like you said, this is spoiler free. So especially after Falcone gets caught and he's on the steps and the Penguin's on the steps. Is like, that's right, stool pigeon, or something like that. I remember. Yeah. And then Falcone's laughing. I was like, what do you think you're going to do? Take over? And I was like, oh, wow. Matt Reeves knows, or whoever wrote this. Whoa, man. They went back and they did some research on that one, man.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's really good. That's deep. The fact that they knew they even hinted at that. I was like, whoa. I mean, of course, there wasn't anything about a picture stealing or anything like that, but just the whole fact that, he's going to take over. So I'm hoping to see him in a bigger, in the next movie. I hope to see a little bit more of the Penguin being sort of the mobster Penguin that, he deserves to be, I mean, like I said, two characters, Riddler and Penguin, who they've been taken from this comical kind of like, characters that for 75 years everyone's kind of thought of these kind of comical characters. I'm sure when they first came out they were more darker and like mysterious, but now because of 66 Batman and the whole camp stuff, and you've got these characters that have generally been campy characters who are now portrayed in a way that, wow, they're not so campy. Now I can't I told you about this. I tried to watch Gotham, the show. Yeah. I can only make it through the first season. So I don't know what they did with the Penguin in that. I don't know what they did with all the other characters in that. I don't know if they tried to make them more serious. I never got past the first season. So I can't like judge that.
You ended you stopped where you should have.
Yeah.
I can tell you from experience.
And just the fact that here we are seeing these two characters in a movie being redone in a way to take away that campiness, and don't get me wrong, I love what Burton did with Penguin and Batman Returns. I liked it. It was more, he took a completely turn on it because before that we had Burgess Meredith version, that Penguin, and then so Burton took a turn. He just said, I'm gonna make a guy as a mutant.
He's a monster.
Penguin. Yeah, a monster. And then we got that kind of iteration through the animated series, even though they changed it later on. And then we got even in the Batman TV show, I remember the Penguin went back to being sort of like this mutant guy. He had all these sharp teeth. He had the two ninja chicks with him. And he was like really good at martial arts. And I was like, whoa, this Penguin kicks ass. Like, well, that's pretty cool. And then, but then this version of the Penguin, I liked it. Again, Colin just did an amazing job. You can't even tell it's him. Right. The makeup's so good, you can't even tell it's him. I even had to tell my wife who that was, and she's like, "No way!" I'm like, "Yeah, that's him."
The makeup artist, Mike Marino, he's I don't know if they haven't had the Academy Awards yet, have they? But he was nominated for Coming to America 2. So he's nominated for the Academy Award Best Makeup Artist or Best Makeup, and he did this. And you're right, man. It's like you're watching this thing and you forget, like, that's supposed to be a fat suit and makeup. Like, what the hell? Yeah. He just melts into the character and he becomes a different person altogether. So, I did like the part when he had the the zip ties around his feet and his. Oh my god, dude!
Oh man, I'd lost it.
And he's fucking waddling.
Yeah, when he waddled, I love that. I was like, that's great. It was subtle but great. It was so great everybody remembers it.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, dude, that's fucking perfect. Like I was laughing in the theater at that for sure. Like I was like, no way they made him waddle like a penguin. It's amazing. Yep. And that whole scene right there, he was doing well. I love, dude. So the scene where he goes into the Iceberg Lounge to begin with, and the dichotomy and the kind of contrast of having Batman literally beat the fuck out of beat his way into the club, and then Penguin just, hey, whoa, take it easy, and he just extends his hand out for a handshake. Like how aggressive it got to how subtle and how like poised Penguin tried to take the control back, was that introduction was awesome. And then I love I'm just a proprietor. What people do in here, it's none of my business. Like, it's just, it was very well done. I think the whole balance of it. And then that scene that you mentioned when he's waddling, that whole back and forth with Gordon and Batman, and the way that he's like he's a mobster. Like he goes, get that shit. I don't want to see that. Don't show me that. Like
what are you showing me here?
It was.
Come on, you've seen worse. It was like but he was playing it up. You've probably done worse. But
there I got a lot of flashes of Joe Pesci from Goodfellas.
I got that as well. I got that really as well. And I actually thought at one time that they would have used Joe for the Penguin if they ever that would have been kind of cool to see.
And I think we kind of got the closest thing possible to that, not even knowing that we'll get Colin Farrell could have done it. So
I know, and that just proves how much Colin is just a great actor as well.
Yeah, dude,
he's another. Yeah,
it's good to see. It's good to see him get mainstream accolades again, because I've thought that dude was an absolute monster of an actor for so long. Like he goes all out, and it's good to see him in a role now that kind of like that really kind of favors him. So, what did you think about? They really went specific with the relationship between the team up, the partnership between Gordon and Batman. What did you think about that? The whole movie.
Actually, I did like that. I liked it too because it was also, again, not the beginning of their relationship, but still early. Like Gordon he's like, he's still getting used to, Batman showing up and everything.
Right.
But everyone hates, because he's not Commissioner Gordon yet. So I like the fact that I did like it. It had that, like everyone said, it has that buddy cop kind of feel to it. And I like it because it felt like it was written well. Like they were feeling each other out, trying to feel. But you can also tell at that moment, I think Batman turns to him and says, I know it's not you, because like there was a part where they were questioning who was corrupt.
You're a good cop or something like that.
Yeah, he turned to him and said, you're a good cop. Like he knows. So that was probably the first time that Gordon heard that. Like to say, when we heard it, it was probably the first time he heard it. That Batman actually first time he said it. So I felt that. I felt it. It's like, because you could see the expression on his face when he said, "You're a good cop," you know.
Yeah.
But I also felt like Batman's always known. It's like he's got that. This is a Batman again that's going on, sort of, I guess, a sixth sense, but also kind of going on, you know, knowing stuff. I really felt that this is the first time in all of the Batman movies that he's a detective. And I thought that was really done well.
Yeah.
And he's not that good because he kind of screws. Yeah, I like the fact he screwed up. Although he got the thing with the drive when he's talking to Alfred in the cipher. And I thought, and of course, the Riddler's joke, the thumb drive. Wow. That's kind of like my sense of humor almost. I was like, whoa. It's like he put the guy's thumb on the drive, drive, and I was like, I like that. That's sarcastic. That's dark and sarcastic. That's like, I like that. Yeah. So the Riddler had some jokes, but they were dark jokes. And that is the one thing I have heard some people say. The negative. Not friends that I know, but I read some people thought it was too dark. And I'm like,
it's fucking Batman, guys.
It's Batman. You haven't read Batman. What do you think? Is this 66 Batman? You know, it's like, again, I love 66 Batman. Don't get me wrong. I love it, but it's a different, you know, you got to take it on a different level.
Right.
You know, it's like The Boys. It's like, I don't want kids that watch Marvel stuff to suddenly just turn around and watch The Boys, you know, or even read The Boys. I can't even imagine reading The Boys. Geez, like, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, I was at the comic book shop. Remember, I told you I went to the comic book shop. No, and I respect this guy. The guy was in there with his dad, with his kids. There's a father in there with his kids, and the father was asking some of the stuff, and the kid was looking at some graphic novels, and he came across The Boys, and the father was like, "Is this like the show?" He's asking the comic, the proprietor, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, it's like the show. It's probably even worse." And he's like, "You got to put that back, son." I was like, yeah. I mean, the kid was probably like 6 or 7. He's like, "But I've seen gore," and like the dad's like, "No, you got to put that back and pick something else." Yeah. So I was like, "Oh," I didn't want to say anything about it. I was like, "Props to that dad," you know, because there's not a lot of parents these days that we even they think, "Oh, it's a cartoon. Go ahead, go watch it." Like having no idea, because like I just got done watching The Boys, Diabolic, and only because my friend Rob actually did some of the voice work on it, and well, he recorded some of the actors, and he was telling me about it, and I said, "Dude, that I don't know if you've watched it, but I was like, dude, that Aquafina episode about the poop, that had me in tears. That had me in tears, man. It was so funny."
Yeah. There's a lot of I mean, I think there's a lot of understanding of what this character is like kind of meant to be now with like, I mean, I feel like it was established pretty well with the 89 stuff and Frank Miller specifically with the comics, but yeah, you know, I think people still have the bad taste in their mouth of Batman and Robin, you know, from the Clooney stuff. So
I told you, man, I don't even get me started on Schumacher stuff, man. Do not get me there. Don't bring me there. Oh man. Talk about a time when I went from loving the Tim Burton ones, even Batman Returns. I know a lot of people don't like Batman Returns, but I love Batman Returns. And then Batman Forever comes out, and I went from I'm proud to be a Batman fan to fuck, man, I'm not letting anybody know I like Batman anymore, man, because this is that shit. One. Yeah, but and then Batman and Robin was even worse. I didn't even see Batman and Robin at the theater. I waited until I think it came out on home video, and I remember I watched it, and I was like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't even waste my money on this. It's weird, dude, because like some stuff I like. An example, the Birds of Prey TV show. I actually liked it because it came off of the Burton Batman in a way, you know.
That was a cool show.
Yeah, it only lasted one season. I liked the whole clock tower thing. I liked the fact that we got to see Oracle. Barbara as Oracle. Yeah. I liked it. I mean,
Alfred's in it.
Yeah, I had a little bit of problems with you know, the way they did Black Canary, you know, but you know, and Huntress being the daughter of Batman and Catwoman, and it's like that's the only part. That's my only qualm is like, wow. Batman and Catwoman were both so narcissistic they didn't even take care of their daughter. Like, oh man. Okay, but
Sucks.
other than that, I did like that show because, like I said, because it spun off of the Tim Burton universe versions.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Schumacher films. Oh man, I mean,
yeah. Well,
I don't know.
Let's get the bad taste out of our mouth and talk about something cool. What were your thoughts? I mean, I feel like there's an entire scene dedicated or at least a moment dedicated just to the introduction of the Batmobile.
Oh yeah, that was great. I was giddy like a kid in that scene. I was, because you hear it first. First you hear that high pitched, like I guess it's jet engine noise. Yeah, you hear that first before you actually hear the car engine start. And yeah, that was intense. That was great. That was goosebump raising. I was like, oh, yep. I was like, that was great. And it lingered.
Yeah.
But it didn't linger too long. It lingered just enough. It was just enough, and it's like, and then when it finally kicks in, that flame, that is something that was reminiscent of the '66 Batman. Because when I was a little kid, because I'm older, I'm an old bastard. So I grew up watching those 66 Batmans when they were syndicated in the 70s and they were coming back on. And as a little kid, that's why I love the Batmobile, is when you used to see that little flame come out the back end. Yeah. And they actually had that sound. And it was reminiscent of that in this one. That old, it brought that back. And that's what I liked about this version of the movie. It hits on so many different, all of them. It hits on all of them. And I think the best thing that I liked about this one is Gotham is now a character again. Yeah. It's not just any city. It's living, breathing. I felt that Gotham was a character in this. Like I said, like the way that Tim Burton made Gotham a character. And it's important. The city has to have that feel. Of course, we're never going to get the animated version with the blimps flying over,
and the all black background.
Yeah, I mean that would be amazing. But I did feel that this time that this is Gotham City. This is a cool. It was really filmed, and like again, I look at film in a different way. So I looked at all the Gothic structures and the way that it was filmed, and the way I don't know if this is actually in a real city, or for some of it was green screen stuff, but it was done in a way that it felt realistic. It felt like I could walk into that city, but I don't know where that city is. But it's a dark city.
For sure. Yeah, it's.
I think what I'm hoping, what I'm gearing up for is I got to see the Court of the Owls. They got to put that in somewhere, because that's one of my favorite storylines.
I almost thought that might have been where it was somewhat going when he sends them to the orphanage. Because in Court of Owls, part of it is it Lincoln March? Is that his name? His supposed brother, that was hidden away from him, and that Martha was visiting secretly in the
Yep, I remember
that's what I thought. Like, I was like, damn, are they really gonna fucking go all Court of Owls in this? And they didn't. And I'm almost like, oh, okay, that's kind of good. That would have been a lot. But there's definite opportunity, I think, to kind of delve into that. And what a great story! Like another kind of like psychological, suspenseful, more like conspiracy. I mean, this one had a little conspiracy in it, but that's like full blown, like, that's like baby New World Order kind of stuff. But like Gotham, Gotham New World Order. But going back to the Batmobile real quick, I'm not sure if you knew this, but did you know that Matt Reeves, when he like wrote up ideas of what the Batmobile should look like to the designer, his number one inspiration was Christine from Stephen King, and he wanted
that. I didn't know.
Yeah, so he told the designer in his notes, I'm thinking the Batmobile was like Christine from Stephen King, and so the designer started thinking about it, and that's kind of like where some of the things that came into the Batmobile kind of came in from. And
wow, because see, I mean, I didn't know that, and the vibe I got off it was the Interceptor from Mad Max. That's literally what. That's the vibe I got off of, especially in Road Warrior. Yeah, the way that it's built up in Road Warrior, because in Mad Max it's pristine, it's new. Yeah. But by the time you get to Road Warrior, he's added all these little things to it, It looks a little dirty, but it looks like it's been worked on, and it's looked like it's incomplete. That's what the kind of vibe I got out of this. But
For sure.
that's interesting that he was looking for more of a Christine kind of like vibe, which I think is cool if they would have gone with an old like 30s or 40s vehicle. I mean,
yeah.
No, that would have been cool. But it still had that 70s kind of muscle car feel.
Right. Did you get excited for what it looked like before you saw the movie, or was it until the movie came that you like really, really liked it?
I did. Again, I try to keep
Cool.
I try to keep everything away. I didn't want to look at stuff. Even in going into like Walmart or Target when the toys started coming out, my wife was like, "Did you want to go to that aisle?" I'm like,
No.
No, because I don't want to spoil. I'm like, don't want to look at anything.
That's awesome.
If I saw the red logo, the Batman, I don't want to look at it. Not until I see the movie.
Wow.
That's how I do things. So it's like, I'm not looking at it. I don't. I refuse to look at it.
Yeah.
Because I think I did that with one of the earlier the animation off the when they were doing the whole New 52 animations, and I ended up not enjoying it. Where I probably would have enjoyed it if I had not known so much.
Oh man!
But I'm also, I also read a lot of the New 52 stuff, so I was like, whoa, oh, it was Hush. That's what it was.
Oh.
I remember. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Hush, the storyline, and then they changed it a lot. Changed it so much in the animation. I was like, oh, I hated it, and but I knew that it was changed.
Right.
I knew going in that it was changed, and I thought, well, maybe because I know what to expect. I still hated it. I was like, they kind of like just put Tommy as the character as just like this little like side note, and then that was it.
Yeah,
and then,
dude.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, did you catch the Hush nod?
Oh yeah, big time. I caught this is everything. Okay, everything in the movie that I got was, even though the Long Halloween, I remember that is one thing I heard people saying. It's going to be like the Long Halloween. I didn't quite get that, other than the fact that it started on Halloween, and the other fact that Selena scratched Falcone's face, which that's what happens in the Long Halloween. Other than that, there was no other Long Halloween stuff in it. Yeah. Not to me. I mean, I'm gonna show you. I'm a huge fan of the Long Halloween. That I even have the black and white version, the Noir version. Yeah. I love this. So, I don't know. It's just I didn't get that much of the Long Halloween out of it, but I did get Batman Year One out of it. I did get the Hush out of it. I'm trying to remember some of the other everyone. I guess everyone's just pretty much said Year One kind of Batman. Earth One. I got the Earth One Batman out of it because of, like I said, seeing him screw up. It was like, that's the first time when I read Earth One the first time, and I remember that scene. I'll pull it out.
It's like falling off the fucking roof
falls
or
off.
something.
He falls off and falls into the garbage.
Yeah.
This scene right here.
There you go.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah, I was like, oh, when I saw that, when he's laying there like that, I was like, oh man, they just did that in the Batman, and I like, that's my favorite part in Year One, like when he screws up, when his toys don't work right, and I can quote 89 Batman like the back of my hand. Right. Especially everything Joker. Where does he get such wonderful toy? I love that line, man. I even say that all the time, just in general. But so that was like, I like that a lot. All the stuff that I was picking out, like I came back and told you right away. I was like, oh man, they did Hush, and they did, especially because it was Riddler that wrote Hush.
Yes.
And I was like, look at that.
And then it was right as they were talking about, was it his name James Elliott or Michael Elliott, the reporter? His name was, basically they're looting Tommy Elliott's father.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Yep. Like just little, like you said, man, you said it earlier. I can't remember for what we were talking about, but you said someone, the Penguin stuff, the Penguin origin. Yeah. Someone did their homework and was peppering in.
There's definitely a lot of homework in this. I mean, even stuff that I probably, and you probably, I don't know, I didn't even pick up on. That's why I like to talk to other people, because they got insight to stuff that maybe I didn't quite catch. I'm not the biggest Batman, fan. So there's other fans out there probably picked up some other stuff that like I wish, I think I remember I came back and I told you the things like the Hush reference, picking up on that, and trying to think of something else. Like, I was really surprised because I don't remember this in the books. Was Martha's always an Arkham, or is that something new that they
No,
added?
well, I know that I can't remember the specific storylines, but they did kind of add to Martha's to like the family history. So, I know that there's the Waynes, there were the Arkhams, and I do believe that I can't remember who wrote it and where it started. I know that Snyder had it in there with
Okay.
Gate. I think, did you read Gates of Gotham? So I
Mm,
think that might be maybe that's where it originated. So
okay.
him and Kyle Higgins wrote what was called Gates of Gotham, and that was in between the Black Mirror and Court of Owls. So it was like a little
Okay.
bit of a preview to Court of Owls. And in Gates of Gotham, what they do is they establish that there's five families of Gotham. There's the Waynes, the Elliots, the Cobblepots, the Arkhams, and then there's one more that I can't remember. But those are the five families, and oh, maybe it was like the Falcones, probably what it is. And so
Okay. Yeah.
in that book, they actually flesh out how involved and how interconnected the families actually are. You know, like you might not think about it, but there's a lot of history. It goes back to like almost Victorian times where some of these families were involved in like Europe and then they came over to Gotham or whatever. And something that we were talking about Penguin earlier, something that's interesting in that is that they established the Cobblepots as being one of the five families of Gotham. So in that continuity, Oswald has always been rich and he's always had money and he's always had the ability to make money and have money. So it was cool to see them go the kind of gangster route. But you know, it could be just like that, where maybe this guy does have money. Maybe he is just this like fucking spoiled playboy and he wants to get his hands dirty and he wants to be like a badass. So now he's getting involved with the mob.
Hmm.
But yeah, so Martha having issues with like Martha having Arkham ties and stuff like that. That's always kind of at least since Gates of Gotham, it's been established. But what else was there in there that they mentioned? I mean, there was a ton of cool comic reader Easter eggs that I think people like. That's why you hear people comment, oh, it's the closest thing to the comics. It's the closest adaptation to a detective Batman, like the detective stuff for sure. Like he's trying to solve
Right.
a crime the whole time, which was cool to see. It was. I'm trying to remember other things that I wanted to ask you because I don't want to fucking forget. There's so many things that
Yeah.
I'm thinking of. Oh my God, what was I had one too that I was going to ask you about. It'll come to me. What would you say was uh oh, Gotham. We're talking about like the characters of Gotham. So it's funny that you mentioned Batman Begins you loved because they made their own, they physically created their own set of Gotham City inside a sound studio. And they didn't quite do that with this one, but I agree with you. They purposely created a whole new vibe for Gotham, similar to Batman Begins, where it's like, damn, it's its own city now.
Yeah.
And I really feel like I hope they don't go the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises and start showing just like sweeping like cityscapes of Chicago and all that. Like, dude, just keep it the way it is, man. It's perfect the way it is,
Yeah.
for sure.
And that was the thing about I was mentioning earlier, like the David Fincher vibe with
Yeah.
Seven, and I remember people saying in Seven that it was raining every time, all the night. Like, well, that's cool because Seven's not in a city.
Hmm.
It's if you ever watch the movie again, it's not a named city. So I like the fact that this was always dark. There was always something foreboding.
Yeah.
This Gotham feels foreboding. This is a Gotham I would be worried about walking down the street. Am I going to get mugged? Am I going to get stabbed in the kidneys?
Yeah.
Like I said, you got that feeling in the first Batman Begins, but then you didn't get that at all in the other two Nolan
Yeah.
films.
For
But
sure.
this one you get this overwhelming feeling like I could walk down the street and there'd be human shit on the floor on the ground like every 5 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it feels dirty. It
Yeah.
makes me feel dirty, and I like a film that makes me feel
Right.
rather than I'm not just viewing it. I can feel it, I can smell
Right.
it, I can taste it just by viewing it, and I got that vibe from this. I
Right.
got that vibe from and even in the ending, even when the when they're both taking off, when him and Catwoman are both taking off on the motorcycle, uh I got this vibe that, they're driving. Like, is she going somewhere better? She's going to Bloodhaven. I don't know if that's even better, but she's going somewhere. He's going somewhere, but it's not like they're really going anywhere. I don't know. That's how I got it. Like, it's not like they're escaping the dirtiness. Like the end of the Nolan film, you get to see the Catwoman, Batman, and they're out and they've escaped Gotham. They're out having fun in the sun or whatever. This one, I didn't get that feeling when they were leaving at the end. I got a feeling like they're just going deeper into the shit. Even though they're separating, they're going their own ways. It just felt like they weren't driving off into the sunset. Like you get when it's in movies end. I got a feeling that they're driving off into worse.
Yeah,
that's and I thought that was done well the way that it was.
I remembered exactly what I wanted to ask you now.
Okay.
What were your thoughts about that last scene and that tease inside of Arkham?
Okay, yeah, you and I talked about this. Okay, that's one thing I am a little on the side. I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool. I kind of wish they pulled back a little bit more, but I realized what they wanted to do. They wanted to give you that kind of like, it's the Joker. And I talked to you about this. I want to see more villains than the Joker. I don't want them to just throw the Joker in. I was like, we've seen the Joker. We've seen the Joker. And it's been done. I'd like the Joker to remain in the shadows. This is my personal take. I would like him to remain kind of in the shadows still. Because, there's so much he's done. We get this in a lot of the books. We get this in a lot of the animation. Even in the games, that even when he's locked up, he's still doing stuff. He's still working you. He's making you feel like, he gets to the guards because he makes the guards feel so uncomfortable. Like, he'll probably like ask, like, if a guard came up, I could see him saying, how's your little boy?
Yeah.
And the guard's like, what do you mean? It's like, oh, how's your little boy doing? And then like, how the hell does the Joker know I got a kid?
Yeah.
And then the Joker might throw something like, I heard he failed, English class the other day. And then that really freaks the guy. What the hell? That's the kind of Joker I want to see. I want to see the Joker that's like so scary that he doesn't have to be maniacal to be scary, but he's scary in that way where he's always, again, has that conky confidence, like he's got one up on you. Yeah. That's the Joker I really like. I like that. I haven't read the 3 Jokers yet. I've been holding off on that one. So I don't know the whole story about there being 3 different Jokers. But I've always liked the more, I love the maniacal Joker, don't get me wrong, but I've always loved the deep thought Joker, the one that's always planning, the one that is kind of scary, the Harley's Joker, the Mr. J Joker, the one that worked on Harley, that worked on her and got her to, fall in love with him. That's the Joker I want to see. I want to see the guy that's working stuff from the shadows, that's making you feel uncomfortable. Then he can come out. I don't want to hold him back too long, but I do want to see a build-up where it's like if he's in Arkham, he's working people in Arkham. He's got the guards in Arkham under his thumb. He's got the prisoners because he's worked everybody. He's listening. He's planning. That's the Joker I want to see.
Right.
But I liked it. I kind of had a feeling right when it started that was going to be him. Like right when the scene started, I was like, oh look, they put Riddler right next to the Joker. And as it built up, I was getting it right when it was coming. I was like, yep, that's it.
Yeah. I can't believe that number one, that like you said, like we've had the Joker and we've had it done. You can ask whoever, they're gonna have their favorite. And you can even say it's already been done to greatness multiple times, right? And so like you, I am ready for something different. And when I saw it, I was kind of pissed because I'm like, fucking A, man. Like, if you think of timeline as far as like production, like we're probably not going to see this character play out at least like for like 5 to 7 years. And so you got to wait 5 to 7 years till you see how this plays out, either in the movies or shows or whatever. And so first of all, I'm pissed because you got to invest that. And then number 2, like I kind of want to fucking see it. So yeah, I'm going to watch it, So I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
But I would say, just like you, I really wish they would have given the opportunity to a different character, because Matt Reeves has proven that he can make you care about movies about fucking chimps you know?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
he knows how to create something out of nothing. And like something that I've been asking my friends is, let's pretend that it wasn't Joker. What would the three rogues that you would pick for ending up right next to Riddler? What would your top three choices have been if it wasn't Joker?
Okay, well, you know who I want to see. So, although it wouldn't have been right to have him be so early in
Yeah.
Arkham, but I think Professor Pig is
Oh yeah.
genius. It's one of Grant Morrison's my favorite creations that Grant
Yeah.
did. So I like Professor Pig because it's just he is literally crazier than any of the other ones.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say that that's who I would have thought should have been in the prison cell. I want to see Professor Pig, but I don't think that's who. I think it would have been cool if it was. I'm trying to think of somebody from the Rogue Gallery that would have been kind of cool, or somebody. I kind of want to see Calendar Man a little bit. Even Victor Zsasz would have been. Victor Zsasz would have been cool because because it could have made sense.
It would have fit the world.
You got two, serial killer type guys.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Zsasz would have worked because people would have been like, "Who's this dude with all these scars?" I mean, But only us hardcore people would know who the hell that was. I guess. I don't know who would have been good in a cell next to him. I mean,
and let's pretend Matt Reeves can do it, right? Like, let's say that he can do it because everyone's like, "Oh, you can't. That's not realistic." Blah blah. It's like, all right, okay, whatever. But if we're gonna fantasize, I really really want to see like a Man Bat, like a Kirk Langstrom, or
okay.
I would love to see Man Bat because. Maybe not so much as like a sequel to the Batman, but it'd be cool if he was in as teased in the Batman, and then he'd get like his own solo spin-off of like a fucking monster movie of Kirk Langstrom, Man Bat. That would be cool.
Yes,
I would have loved same reason, Clayface. Like, I think that character's so cool because you can really.
But which one?
The failed actor. Basil Karlo, because I think like. You could probably get an actor who would love to do that, who would love to play like a failed actor. And so the animated series kind of like version of it where he's based off of what's his name, who played, wow, my fucking nerd cred is getting revoked, who played Frankenstein and the Mummy.
Karloff.
Yeah, Boris Karloff. Basil Karlo is who he's based on on. But
exactly.
Yeah, so Karlo, I want to see that, like this actor who is like, he got like typecast in like monster movies or something like that, and he's trying to get out of that, and he tries to get his looks back, and it fucks up, and now this is what he is. That would be dope to see. I really want to see that. And I would also love to see maybe like ventriloquist / Scarface. Like,
I was actually going to say Scarface. Yes.
Yeah, dude.
I was going to say that. I would love to see that, especially with that mob kind of thing. I don't want to see again is I don't. I mean, besides Joker, I mean, we've mentioned that. I don't feel that we need a Two-Face, because I understand the importance of Two-Face. I just don't feel we need it, because it'll feel forced. I felt it was forced in Dark Knight, and I just don't want to see a Two-Face not right now. He deserves his own story. That's what The Long Halloween was in the book, is his story, and he deserves a lot more of a story like that to become that character. You can't just rush it. You can't rush that.
Right.
Jarvis would be cool.
You know? Oh yeah, the Bad Hatter.
Yeah, he would be cool. You got to make him a pedophile, twisted.
Yeah, you were talking
nerdy.
About that.
Yeah, you got to.
I don't know how this is gonna work, but we'll see.
Yeah. You got to make him. You got to make it that. You got to make it. I mean, I could see that Matt Reeves doing, that in this universe, because it's that dark. You could actually you don't have to show that stuff, but you can hint to it. You can hint to it, like
just like the comics. Yeah.
Oh man, imagine this. You got Mad Hatter, who's obsessing over a little girl, obviously the pedophile stuff, but then you also have Professor Pig, who likes to take little kids and make them Dollatrons.
Oh man,
what a perfect two characters that haven't been. It would be scary if you had both these, because you got Professor Pig over here who wants to make people perfect and make these little Dollatrons. Imagine if he was obsessing over the girl that Jarvis So you
Yeah.
almost have this sort of rival thing going on
Right.
between these two sickos, which,
Yeah.
and then you got Batman who's got to like handle this. And I think what would really, really, we could see a very good emotional moment for Batman is, could Batman break at this? Because I can tell you what, if I ever walked across some pedophile dude, I'm gonna break. I'm gonna
Yeah.
bust him. What a perfect way to really set that balance for Batman to face,
To test his
to
boundaries.
test how can he finally step over the line. I mean, you're sure we've always seen the Joker push him to that point, but imagine if we're going with that darker real life kind of scenario, a Batman that comes across a pedophile,
Yeah.
and how he's got to like, is he finally gonna break this guy down so bad? Is he gonna beat this guy that he knocks his teeth out? Is he gonna beat him to death? And if it was done well, you could totally have this whole scene where you see this inner struggle where he's got to stop himself,
Right.
it'd be great or like I told you before, what a great way to introduce Robin, if you're going to go with a younger Robin, to have a younger Robin investigating his friend or somebody he knows. Kids come up missing, and that's what he's looking for. And that's another thing too. I don't want to see all the Robins. I would love to just, if they're going to do Robin, let's take the best. Let's take the best of Dick Grayson. Let's take the best of Jason Todd. Let's take the best of Tim. Let's take the best of Damian, if there's any best of Damian, and let's just mix them all together to make a good Robin, or even a Carrie. I mean, I could have a girl Robin. I'm up with that. Or even better yet, like the Robin. I don't have my books here. The when there was a bunch of Robins, I think that would also be kind of cool, where Robin's not just one kid; it's a whole network of kids.
Yes.
And what a perfect way to kind of put that in. If
We Are Robin?
Yeah. Where you have a network of kids that are Robins, that might be kind of a different take on it. Like, hey, it's not just one Robin; there's a bunch of different ones. And
interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just my brain's spinning right now, trying to think of different.
That would be interesting for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be respectful of your time, man. We've gone over like almost 20 minutes than we were planning.
Okay. Yeah, I actually should be.
I don't. I mean, like I said, dude, we could probably go for hours. So I want to make sure that we're making sure I know what time it is. Dude, I really think that we could flesh this out even more. So maybe if we can talk, maybe like when we get more news about like shows or whatever is going to spin off from this, we can like start talking about that too. Maybe we'll do another part 2 for that. But yeah, man. Okay, let's end with, if you were to score this 1 out of 10, or 1 to 10, what would you give the Batman?
Okay, now 10s are really hard for me to give to any movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, really bad at giving 10s. So this is going to be a 9, the Batman. So I don't ever really give 10s. There isn't many movies that I give 10s to. And the movies that I give 10s to, people will be like, why the fuck would you give 10 to that movie? But yeah, so this is a 9, and I will tell you only reason why is because, like I said, my only qualms were the ending, which is the same as you. I've seen the Joker. I wish we hadn't got it, but I do understand why they did it logistically. I get it, but they teased it, so it's fine. And the way, like I said, I wanted to see a more sassy Catwoman. I want a confident Catwoman. I hope they do that. If they bring her back, I hope she comes back from Bloodhaven and she's a little bit more cocky, a little bit more confident, a little bit more like, knows what she's doing, can land on her feet.
Yeah.
I want to see that kind of Catwoman. That's the Catwoman I want. The Catwoman that can land on her feet all the time and know that even though she may fuck up, she may need Batman, but she's not going to ever admit it.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I think you are probably one of the most honest, level-headed resources for. I mean, it's cool, man. It's cool to see that you're just like one of us. You're just a big comic geek and nerd, and you see the movie the way that a true fan really would. So it's awesome to kind of like, geek out with you. I really appreciate you coming on. And like I said, man, we'll have you back when we get more news on like what this world is going to turn into with like the TV shows and possible sequels. Like I'm sure we're going to be wanting to talk about this like nonstop. So we'll definitely do it again, man. I really appreciate it.
Okay, cool.
You have a good day, man. Thanks, Cam. Everybody check out Massacre. Keep a lookout on the Massacre Bandcamp for all the new stuff they're dropping, new tape coming out. All right, man. Have a good night.
Okay.
Later, Cam.
All right, man.
Thanks, dude.